Wagwan, everybody. Lennox here from Simple123 Trader. This is the weekly playbook outlook for the week of November 8th to 13th. Hope everybody's doing well. And let's take a look at the futures and see what is likely to be setting up for this upcoming week. So again, this is for the week of November 8th to 13th, and starting off with the Australian dollar, and a little different format this week on this. Starting off with a line chart showing you where what I'm doing here is just showing you where all the major support resistance areas are, and then I'll switch it over to a candlesticks so that you can see what the trajectory is. So I'm using the daily time frame just to kind of give you an idea of what is setting up for the week in the short term. Using the weekly chart, I'm looking at one bar. With the daily chart, I can look at a little further out. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to switch now to the candles, and as you can see, we came off this support area here, and the trajectory is definitely to the upside for the Australian dollar, looking very strong. Next area of resistance is here, and we could get a little pullback before we go, or it could just continue going at this point. So pretty strong for Australian dollar. Okay, so that makes it easy. Let's take a look at the Canadian dollar and a similar setup. Again, we have a large move here, right on the support line. There's a medium support in this area, but it didn't quite play out, and the major support is above. And again, we're pushing very strongly to the upside. We're going to be hitting resistance, so we could get a little pullback, but again, the trajectory is to the upside for the Canadian dollar. So Canadian dollar, Australian dollar looking quite strong going into this week. Let's take a look at the US dollar, and it's a different story for this guy. Okay, so major support here, so the resistance is above, and we formed a large 1, 2, 3 here, and we're on our way down. So again, we're at resistance, or sorry, support. So we could get a push back up first before we fall through, or if it's really weak, and it looks like the U.S. Elections, with a new president elect, that this might be very weak coming into tomorrow and the rest of the week, and we could see this falling down dramatically. Okay, let's take a look at the euro, and the news out of Europe right now is strong markets because of the Biden election. Okay, so very strong. This one, we almost had a 1, 2, 3 bottom, but this was broken, and so it's a whole new look. So again, we're going to be looking at the move we're right at resistance. We could get a pullback before we get out of there again. So strength in the euro as well going into this week. All right, and we're going to look at the Swiss. And it's very interesting that all these charts are practically all looking the same. Some of them have a little bit more strength than others, but the Swiss also same kind of move right off a support area, and then a strong push to the upside. We've broken the resistance. We're right in the resistance zone, but we've broken through and could again come back in before we go. But everything's looking really strong again, starting off tomorrow morning. Okay, current time, I should tell you, is 11:17 p.m. Pacific time for me to 17 a.m. Eastern time. So I just want to let you know what time it is that I'm doing this video. Okay, so there's lots of strength in the Swiss. Let's take a look at gold. And also a similar looking type of setup. We're right again on a support level. We formed this 1, 2, 3 bottom, and we're again pushing to the upside. Again, we could get a pullback before we go, or we could just continue pushing to the upside at this point. Okay, so gold looking strong at this point against a weak US dollar, it seems here. Okay, let's take a look at the Japanese yen. And this one has been just climbing very slowly up. We hit this support level here, but we're bouncing off it. We're broken through a resistance area and we're pushing to the upside. So looking like a little bit of strength going into Japanese yen as well into this week. Okay, and you can see what I drew here is basically a triangle, and we're pushing the upside of that. So you can see where the next resistance level is up here. So that's where we're aiming for at this point. Okay, let's take a look at the Mexican peso. And the Mexican peso also hitting a support level and bouncing off and breaking through resistance, looking very strong. But again, we could get a pullback before this goes. The next area of resistance really is way up here. I didn't even draw that in. I could, I suppose, maybe even draw it in here, something like that. But we're pushing up towards that area on the Mexican peso. All right, and let's take a look at the British pound. And again, on the daily here, we're support level. We've pushed off the support level and pushing to the upside. So we're right at a very sensitive area of resistance. Not as strong as the next area of resistance coming up, but a little pullback again and a push to the upside looks likely. But any news, good news, would catapult this straight up without any pullback at all. But we'll see how that plays out tomorrow. Okay, and let's take a look at the Dow. The Dow also came off a support area and is now sort of in the middle of nowhere here, but is now pushing very strongly to the upside. So I expect strength, a little, perhaps again a little pullback, but very slight before it continues, and we're going to assault the next resistance level, and it looks like we're going to be pushing through that to the upside. So strength in the Dow, and then I look at the S&P 500, and that also is right on that support line, and now pushing very strongly to the upside. Again, a pullback is possible, but everything is looking. You can see there's a trend here. All these instruments, futures instruments, are looking strong going into this week. So trade accordingly. Look for strength in all of these. Let me take a look at Bitcoin, and I should also look at the futures. I'm not sure if there's futures for the Russell 2000. Let's just see. Don't believe there is. No, there's no futures for the Russell 2000. But I could take a look at Bitcoin just to see what is going on with Bitcoin, and very strong to the upside here as well. Okay, so that's Bitcoin on the daily, and it didn't draw any support resistance lines on this one. However, you can see from this move down here, it's just been very strong to the upside. So looking like continued strength in Bitcoin against a weak US dollar. All right, so that is a look at what's setting up for the week. So I wish you all profitable trading, and be safe. I'm done now. Thank you.